Now, by the time this program is over, at least 2 elephants would have been killed for their ivory. Statistically, 1 animal is destroyed by poachers every 15 minutes. Extinction is not just the only threat to the elephants, but also the ecosystems they support. Well, in the last hour, 4 African countries have pledged to honor a 10-year suspension on sales of ivory. The leaders of Botswana, Gabon, Chad and Tanzania made the statement at a gathering here in London to discuss the illegal wildlife trade. Well, Focus on Africa's Lebo Diseko is outside Lancaster House, where Prince Charles has been hosting the discussions. Lebo, what have they been saying today?
Well, Peter, as you said, 4 countries have agreed to stop sales of legally acquired ivory. So that's ivory that comes from animals that may have died naturally or may have been culled. And this is important because many conservationists say that it's this kind of sales that's fueling demand in countries such as China. Now, earlier today, Prince Charles said that the illegal wildlife trade and poaching was reaching unimaginable levels. And one country that's been particularly affected is Kenya, from where my colleague Mark Lowen reports.
Africa's treasure under threat, hunted by the poachers. 30 years ago, Kenya had almost 170,000 elephants. Today, around 30,000 remain. A devastating ivory trade led by China has reached record levels. As dawn breaks over Tsavo National Park, a week-long aerial census begins to gauge the poaching impact. It's a vital tool for the rangers who believe they're winning the fight.
We're obviously beating the poachers. We are beating them, they are not beating us. Our men are dealing with them effectively, and the census would basically be an indicator of that we've been successful.
The planes circle over the savannah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Teams counting the elephants to see if new births are outweighing those poached. There is a shocking statistic in Africa that an elephant is killed by poachers every 15 minutes. The hope of this census is that it will show a resilient elephant population, but also indicate where they are and if they're straying into territory too vulnerable to the poachers. But then the hard reality. Our cameraman is allowed to join a small vet team that hears of a newly targeted elephant. It's a huge bull with prized tusks, hit by poachers for the 4th time. The gun saves him. An anaesthetic dart to give the team time to work.
As he's walking under a tree, whatever's gone in has gone in here like this, so it's likely a spear. So what a guy does is he either sets an automatic spear up a tree with a weight on it, that the elephant trips and the spear falls, or a guy actually sits up the tree and spears the elephant from the top.
A special clay sucks out the poison and heals the wounds. 2 more weeks and he'd have been dead. He has to be pulled up, a new lease of life, until the poachers strike again. So how old is this one, for example?
To Donnie, he's about, what, 3 years old now, not quite.
For one of the world's most renowned elephant experts, the extent of poaching is hard to bear.
Terrible. Really terrible. It's, in this day and age, it's an indictment on mankind. We're looking at about 10, 15 years before elephants in the wild disappear.
China's hunger for ivory kills here. Kenya is trying higher fines for smugglers, but saving this precious species is more critical than ever. Mark Lowen, BBC News in Kenya.
Now, one of the things that makes this trade so difficult to crack down on is the high profits involved. Let me give you some idea of what we're talking about. On the black market, rhino horn is worth more than cocaine, worth more than diamonds. And Interpol says that increasingly people that used to traffic narcotics are now trafficking illegal wildlife products. And the money that's gained from this is being used to finance wars on the continent and terrorist organizations such as Al-Shabaab. Now, one of the agreements that was reached today was to start treating this illegal trade like you would treat narcotics and other serious crimes. Well, I'm joined by Uganda's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Henry Okello. Tell me, what is your country doing to try and tackle this problem?
So several measures. The most practical measures that the government intends to place now is put into place laws, first of all, stringent laws that will make the crime for handling illegal ivory, illegal rhinos and other wild animal products, make it a grave crime. Number two, we want to ensure that the courts really prosecute and follow up the sentencings of those who are found to have committed those crimes. The next step is the practical one, is to ensure that our game wardens and those who are in charge of the wildlife have the necessary equipment and facilities to be able to handle the scale of the problems that we have. One is to ensure that our game wardens and those who are in charge of the wildlife have the necessary equipment. The legal rhino now use sophisticated weapons, night visions, submachine guns, helicopters, and we need to be able to match them if we are to eradicate this.
Now, your country, Uganda, is sometimes called a transit nation where goods are brought from countries such as DRC and exit the continent through, say, Kenya. Is there an issue of border control, of tighter controls that need to be there?
Yes. I think we have now a success story. In the last few weeks, we have been able to intercept a lot of the ivory that has been going through Uganda. We have improved our surveillance and intelligence collection. We are sharing more intelligence with our neighbors. There's increased surveillance at the airports and the ports of entry and ports of exit. And as a result, we have successfully managed to capture and arrest a lot of the ivory that has been going through Uganda. There is still need for extra surveillance. There is still need for extra work to be done so that absolutely nothing goes through. But I'm glad to say that they are beginning signs that we're of success stories.
We don't have a lot of time left, but just quickly, there's a lot of emphasis today on the supply side of the issue. Do you think that more needs to be done to crack down on demand?
Definitely. If we put, I think more pressure has to be put on the demand side of it to ensure that it discourages those who demand for this ivory, who demand for these rhinos, discourages absolutely from believing that they're medicines, believing that they're status symbols, and totally the society in itself, in countries like China, India and other Asian countries, disallowing the use of these products at all for medicinal purposes and for other purposes.
Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, my dear.
Well, Peter, a very sobering thought just to finish with is that if this issue is not dealt with, both rhino and elephants could be extinct on the African continent in both of our lifetimes.
Many thanks. That's my colleague Lebo Diseko speaking to me from central London. Now,